Hello there. Welcome to the basement. James Gunn done announced his new slate yesterday, and we are going to go over the video and react to it and see what we think about his plans and, well, basically the whole presentation from, substance to quality to entertainment value, even, because honestly, a hype video generates movie hype. Like if the video is hype, you're naturally going to be excited about what's in the video. So it is important to analyze video quality as well as the quality of the products he wants to put out. So therefore, let us go to the video. Behold James Gunn. Just sitting there ready to yap at us. Alrighty. So here we go, Mr. Gunn.
Hey everybody, I'm James Gunn. I'm the co-CEO of DC Studios. So as many of you know, DC has been disconnected in film and television for a long time. And it's one of, our jobs, mine and Peter's, is to come in and make sure the DCU is connected in film, television, gaming, and animation. That the characters are consistent, played by the same actors, and it works within one story. And if something is outside of that, like Matt Reeves' Batman or Todd Phillips' Joker or Teen Titans Go, that it is clearly labeled as DC Elseworlds, outside of the mainstream DC.
Okay. So, he's right. DC's been not that well connected. He's right about the Elseworld stuff too, although all the Snyder peeps, myself included, are going to wonder why the hell that couldn't have been Elseworld also. So I'm just wondering about that one. What else did he say? I think there was something. Okay.
DCU continuity. Now, Peter and I have gotten pretty lucky in terms of and animation. That the characters are consistent, played by the same actors, and it works within one story. And if something is outside of that,
all right, so he wants to keep the same actors throughout. Obviously, that's a bit of a Captain Obvious, but definitely a good idea.
Like Matt Reeves' Batman or Todd Phillips' Joker or Teen Titans Go, that it is clearly labeled as DC Elseworlds, outside of the mainstream DCU continuity. Now, Peter and I have gotten pretty lucky in terms of the 4 projects that are coming out over the next year. First, we have Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Shazam has always been off kind of in his own part of the DCU, so he connects very well. That moves directly into The Flash, a fantastic movie that I really love that resets the entire DC universe. Then to move into Blue.
Okay. So that's been the word on the street for quite a while, is The Flash is going to reset the DC universe. Here is the main question. How much of a reset is it going to be? Because, well, I mean, obviously one of the large concerns is he'll keep his toys and and just reboot everything else. Oh, also while leaving Matt Reeves and that other guy alone for their own Batman and Joker, who may or may not ever meet, because at the end of the Batman, that was a different Joker. That was definitely not Joaquin Phoenix. So, oh yeah, spoiler alert if you haven't watched that stuff yet. Anyway, yeah, let's just move on from there.
Blue Beetle, a fantastic film about a kid who's a marvelous part of the DCU, and then into Aquaman 2, which leads directly into our next few projects, which I'm going to tell you about now. Gunn, I'm the co-CEO. So as Titans Go, that it is clearly labeled as...
My apologies for that.
Connects very well. That moves directly into The Flash, a fantastic movie that I really love that resets the entire DC universe. Then to move into Blue Beetle, a fantastic film about a kid who's a marvelous part of the DCU, and then into Aquaman 2, which leads directly into our next few projects.
Okay, so he is reiterating the fact that this year's movies exist, even though outside of the Flash and just because of the ending and the reset, probably none of which have a damn thing to do with his new DCU that he's yet to go into. Um, I can only assume that he is, he's pimping the movies that are coming out this year, regardless of whether or not they are technically going to be in his new continuity or not, because as we all know, Warner Discovery is low on the funds. So, in order to do what he wants to do with his new slate, they probably need some dough. So, I would say he's pimping these movies for no other purpose than to hope they hit at the box office and get him some play money for his stuff. Because otherwise, there's no point in talking about them at all.
Which I'm going to tell you about now. So, Peter and I, along with a group of very talented writers, have started to map.
Just real quick. That description of Blue Beetle, a kid who's a marvelous part of the DC. Not a very detail-oriented presentation to this point, and just mentioning the fact that Aquaman 2 exists, and that's it. Aquaman is like their biggest DCEU, now DCU film so far. That thing popped a billy plus, and all he's gonna do is just drop a quick mention by name. I wonder, does that mean anything? Does that mean Momoa will be out as Aquaman and eventually they might recast him for his new version of whatever he decides to do in a Justice League-y kind of way, and that Momoa will definitely now be Lobo? Is that what that brush by means? Could be. Or it could just be he wrote himself a lousy-ass script for this video. Who the hell knows? But me personally, give me Lobo. I want Lobo so bad. And like I've said any number of times when this has come up, Google Lobo and Momoa and look at them next to each other, and you will see Momoa was literally genetically created to play Lobo. Anywho. So, now we get to the new stuff, finally, after a minute 20 of a 6-minute video.
Out an 8 to 10 year plan of what DC Studios will be in film, television.
Okay, he's got an 8 to 10 year plan, but he's only got a 4-year contract. I would guess he assumes his stuff's going to be successful enough for them to keep him, extend/renew the contract. That would be my assumption. Otherwise, what is the point in making an 8 to 10 year plan when you are only definitely for sure going to be there? Not necessarily saying he won't get extended, but all he and any of us know right now is that he's got 4 years, and that's it. Anything beyond that is still up in the air. So I'm assuming that he's assuming his movies are going to slap, and thusly he can come up with a longer plan than what is absolutely necessary for his contractual obligations.
And gaming. This first chapter is called Gods and Monsters. Now, this, what I'm about to tell you, is a part of the first chapter. It's not the entire first chapter. The first project is Creature Commandos. Creature Commandos is an animated series. I've written all the episodes. Something we're going to do that's a little bit different at DC is we're going to have characters move into animation, out of animation, usually having the same actor play their voice as who plays them in live action.
Okay, that's cool. That's very cool. It'll be interesting to see how well he can pull that off. People that are a cartoon today and are live action tomorrow, and then back to a cartoon in a month or two, and also making sure that same person is there for both live action and the voice acting for the cartoon. That would be cool if he can pull it off. That'll be dope. I think that'd be super cool. Again, I am not a sweaty. I'm familiar with the major characters from DCU. Actually, not even all of those, probably, at this point. I haven't looked at or studied DCU in quite some time. So I have no idea who the Creature Commandos are, or what they're about, or the point of their existence. But, so, I guess you would. I guess I can offer a pretty good normie perspective when I say, who the fuck are these people, and why do I want to watch a cartoon about them? Um, yeah.
The next project up is Waller. This is a story of Amanda Waller, played by Viola Davis.
Okay. Again, just announcing a title with basically no details or anything at all.
Viola Davis is going to team up with members of Team Peacemaker, and this is a story that's been created by Crystal Henry, who did Watchmen, and Jeremy Carver, who created the Doom Patrol. It is a fantastic story that's out of this world, and I can't wait for people to see it. Okay, next up is the big one, the true beginning of the DC.
All right. I love Viola Davis. I think she's an awesome actor. Chris. However you should say it. I need to brush up on that shit. But anyway, she is fantastic in front of the camera. And I enjoy her immensely. I think she's pretty badass as Amanda Waller. I enjoy that character. I don't know that we need a whole show about Amanda Waller. We know pretty much as we really need to know about Amanda Waller at this point, I think. So, yeah, we'll see. I just hope, whether it's necessary or not, I just hope it's all good. Because I'm tired of watching mid stuff.
This is called Superman Legacy. This is being written by me. I'm in the middle of it. I'm having a great time doing it. And Superman will be released into theaters July 11th, 2025. Okay, the next thing is a big...
You hope it'll be released July 11th, 2025. Do we really need to know everything he's personally writing? I'm writing this. I'm writing this. We don't need to know if you wrote it or not, dude. We just need to know what you're planning on putting out and a little bit about it. And so far, all we know is what you've written personally and what you're planning on putting out. You're offering us nothing on what they're really about.
Premiere HBO television series called Lanterns. This is a story of a couple of Green Lanterns, John Stewart and Hal Jordan, and we have a few other Lanterns peppered in there, but this is really a terrestrial-based TV show, which is almost like True Detective, with a couple of Green Lanterns who are space cops watching over Precinct Earth. In it, they discover a terrifying mystery that ties into our larger story of the DCU. Next is a big movie called The Authority.
Okay, well, that sounds dope, the Lanterns TV show. I'm still trying to figure out how space cops are going to be the focal point of a terrestrial show. We'll see, I guess. Yeah, I realize Earth is their precinct, but, yeah, well, anyway. But anything that can redeem the Green Lantern character in the eyes of the fans, at least in cinema, is a good thing. Well, in, visual content is a good thing. Yeah, sorry, Ryan Reynolds, but that cut scene where you blast yourself in the back of the head as Deadpool before you do that movie, we all agree. Well, we don't agree that you need to be dead, but we do agree that you did not need to make that movie. So a redemption of the Lantern characters in general would be pretty damn sweet. The fact that the whatever that mystery is that they're going to start to get into is actually connected to the overall story as a whole is pretty sweet, because let's face it, Feige's gotten us addicted to connective tissue. Like, we pretty much have to have that shit now, or we're like, what the hell? So, pimping connective tissue is a very good thing. But again, the stuff needs to be quality.
Authority is a passion project of mine. It's based on the marvelous Wildstorm characters we are now bringing into the DCU and will interact with all of our primary DCU characters. The Authority are a group of superheroes who think the world is broken and they want to fix it by any means necessary. I think it's a very different look at superheroes. We're doing a television series called Paradise Lost.
Okay. The Authority sounds kind of cool. I know, again, nothing. I need to do research. I'm given to understand that those are actually pretty good comic books in and of themselves. So, I mean, yeah, that could be totally sweet. I mean, having them be interacting with all the main DCU characters is again some nice connective tissue in the form of characters this time rather than a mystery. But that's good. More connective tissue is good. And Mr. Gunn does have a knack for making the obscure popular. Guardians of the Galaxy. So yeah, there's a lot of potential here. It'd be nice to know a little bit more about they sound kind of amoral. The world is messed up and they want to fix it, but they don't care how or what they have to do to fix it. So, to compare to Marvel characters, it's like a whole group of Punishers, maybe not that quite extreme. They might not necessarily kill everybody, but I like the idea of it because at least if he's going back to the original Superman-y roots of the Boy Scout style Superman, there's definitely a group of people that are going to piss him off. Superman is not all about the ends justify the means, and it sounds like the Authority is. So that'll be a fun little battle right then and there, I do believe. So yeah, the Authority I think that's got pretty damn good potential. Now what do we got?
Paradise Lost is the story of Paradise Island, usually known as Themyscira, which is the birthplace of Wonder Woman. It's almost like Game of Thrones with Westeros, but with all of the inhabitants of Paradise Island. The introduction of the DCU's Batman is the brave and the bold. The brave and...
All right. Uno momento. So we're getting a Game of Thrones-like show set on the island Wonder Woman grew up on, but not involving Wonder Woman. I mean, that's good, honestly, because if you introduced a member of the Mighty Triumvirate or whatever, i.e. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, on TV, that would be a big mistake, in my opinion. Your top tier characters get the cinema, period. Honestly, I'm surprised the Lanterns are getting a TV show and not a movie because, again, from what I understand, the Lanterns are absolutely huge, especially when it comes to the cosmic aspect of DC in general in the comics. So one would think it'd have to be the same thing with Mr. Gunn's slate. But, yeah, we'll see.
The Bold is the story of Batman and his actual son, Damian Wayne. This is based on Grant Morrison's great comic book run. Damian Wayne is my favorite Robin. He's a little assassin who Batman tries to get in line, and so this is the story of the two of them and the beginning of sort of the Bat family in the DCU. Next up is
Okay. That sounds cool. I actually know a little bit about Damian thanks to DC videos I watched on Comics Explained because Rob's dope. He does a damn good job. So yeah, I actually know a little bit about Damian. He's not kidding when he said he's an assassin because he was literally raised by I say Ra's al Ghul. Some people say Ra's al Ghul, whatever. But yeah, he was raised by Mr. Al Ghul to be a little assassin, basically from the time he could walk. So yeah, he's a little badass. I'm not exactly sure how he ended up back with his dad. Mom is Ra's al Ghul's daughter, by the way. And so, but again, he sounded cool as hell in the comics explained videos I watched about DC so far, and I've heard from a few other people that Damian's a little badass and he's cool. So, plus, I believe he's part of the new 52, where Superman has his son going on too, and there's like a Super Sons run. So if they're going to lead up to that, that could be super cool too. John Kent and Damian Wayne out there doing their thing would be pretty sweet. Obviously, down the road. And what do we have now, Mr. Gunn?
TV series called Booster Gold. Booster Gold is one of comics' really popular cult heroes. He is a fascinating guy. He's a loser from the future who uses future technology to come back to present day and become a superhero so that people will love him. It is basically the superhero story of imposter syndrome on an HBO Max series. One of my favorite.
Okay, I know you like bringing out obscure characters, but what is the point of this guy? A future social misfit who gets a hold of some technology, sends himself back to our modern time, using said technology, and also using it to make him into a superhero of sorts. So where he's basically coming back here to live the opposite life of what he lived in his own time. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad premise. I'm just trying to understand the point of this guy being in the new DCU continuity. I mean, when he's a cult character, I can definitely see why he would be a cult character. He seems pointless. But if he's a cult character, obviously that means some people enjoy him. So I guess maybe that could end up being a good show, but at this point in time, with just that narrow-ass description of the character, I'm not even remotely intrigued, much less hyped about it.
Favorite comic book series from last year was Tom King's run on Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. And so we're going to turn that into a big science fiction epic film. Now, Superman is a guy who was sent to Earth and raised by loving parents, whereas Supergirl in this story, she is a character who was raised on a chunk of Krypton. She watched everybody around her perish in some terrible way, so she's a much more jaded character. And that brings me to Swamp Thing, the last thing we're...
That sounds cool. A Supergirl who is a bit more jaded for having a much harder upbringing than Superman, just chilling out with, the Clarks in Kansas, being raised on a chunk of your former planet, I imagine would be traumatizing. So that'll be interesting to see how they dig into her personality in that. But again, it's just, hey, here's Supergirl. She was raised on a chunk of Krypton, so she's pretty pissed off. And moving on to the next thing. Severely lacking in detail you are, Mr. Gunn. Severely lacking in detail.
We're going to talk about a very dark horror story in the origins of the monster who is Swamp Thing. And although it's totally outside of the rest of the DCU, it will still feed into the rest of the stories. Anyway, those are the stories that I can tell you about.
Swamp Thing. I've heard good things about Swamp Thing. But he also is saying Swamp Thing is going to be outside. So does Swamp Thing also going to be in Elseworld, but yet it's going to have to do with the main continuity as well. So how does that work exactly? Does that mean like he's going to have his own full story, and then every once in a while he's just going to pop up to interact with, one of the main characters in the continuity? Like for whatever reason, said main character is going to end up by his swamp for whatever reason. I mean, that's probably going to be a stretch in some circumstances. I hope they do a good job of justifying the interactions between the main characters occasionally with the Swamp Thing. That's weird. Cool character, but weird situation. All right, let's finish this video up.
Right now, I've loved the DC characters since I was a child. They're incredibly important to me. I knew that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do something very different. One of the things that's very important for me in all of these movies and TV series is that the director's vision and the vision of the writers and all of the creators is unique and something special. Storytelling is always king. That's all that matters to us. And I want to be true to those stories. I want to be true to you guys and really give you something different than you've ever seen before. Anyway, thank you, everybody. I appreciate you watching. I hope this was exciting for you because it's really exciting for me. And I can't wait to start to dive into these stories with you guys on this grand adventure. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay, then. Okie dokie, Smokey. Well, how about them apples, folks? So, story will be king. He wants to stay true to the comics, true to the story, true to us, but yet give us something completely different. Yeah, well, we'll just have to see how that goes. So, yeah, that was the announcement and my reaction to it as we went through it. By the way, whoever edited that video, just the quality of the video looks like something my noob ass would put out. So in general, that video could have been better just in terms of actual video quality. And as for the content inside it, yep, he was super fucking vague. All right. There's potential there. And there's quite a few of those projects that could slap, like seriously. But they need to. Because, well, they just need to. We need some quality out of DC. I'm dying for quality DC at this point. I like DC. I've never not liked DC. But they got to present me some stuff. So, hopefully James can do some good with this slate, with the timing, with the quality of his stuff. But anyway, that's his announcement, and that's my reaction to it. If you enjoyed this, go ahead and caress that little thumbs up. Actually, just caress it anyway. Go ahead and subscribe for more of my content. I have live streams and regular videos like this. And please comment. Let me know what you think about James himself and what I think about what he thinks or his slate. Yeah, your opinion of him, his slate, and your opinion of my opinion also would be appreciated. I'm here to interact with you, not just yap at you like a professor in some lecture hall or some shit. So please interact, drop some comments, subscribe, diddle that like button. And like I always say, there's always a good time to be had when you're chilling in the basement.